My man Stan, thank you for coming on, brother. How you doing? Good morning.
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I wanted to have you on because I watched your two performances ago. We fought on
hmm
the same card at Flex Fight
hmm
Series, and it was the first time I got to watch you fight. And
hmm
bro, I was absolutely amazed by just your technicality and the way you display yourself as a martial artist. So I wanted to have you on to kind of just get your story from beginning to now. So yeah, please tell us your journey, brother.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. In terms of like martial arts, so I started training at the Shaolin Kempo Academy. Now they're in Brantford, but they were in East Haven, Connecticut at the time. They taught American Kempo and Kung Fu. My instructor was Ross Tisdale. I need to go see that dude. Ross Tisdale and Joe Darren was my other coach there. But basically, when I started very young. I started when I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. It was essentially like karate that you think of. You know, the forms. We used weapons. We did like choreographed techniques on people, and then we sparred. I started competing in that when I was like 10 years old, and I did pretty much everything. I did weapons, I did forms, and I sparred. And then as I got older, I kind of just dropped stuff off until I was just fighting at the tournaments. I got to like a national-ish level, I would say. I got to the point where I was like traveling for tournaments. The furthest I did in the country was Florida. I competed at the US Open. I forgot what year, but Florida, I would go to like where was it? New Hampshire, I think. New England Open.
This is all for karate,
This
by
is
the
all
way.
for karate,
Hmm.
yeah. I think my favorite one that I traveled for was either the Battle of Atlanta. It's like the biggest tournament for fighting in sport karate. And then Capitol Classics in Washington D.C. was a really good one. But then so I'm so at this point when I'm traveling for these karate tournaments and whatnot, my in my head I'm thinking I want to be a world champion in karate because I'm training with Angel Diaz,
Yeah.
right? Owns two dojos here in Connecticut. I was training with this very good, very very good point fighter, Bailey Murphy. He's
Shout out to Bailey.
yeah, yeah,
Whoo, what a talent.
yeah, dude. Don't get me
Dude's
started. Don't
nuts.
get me started. My first so me and Bailey went to elementary school together,
Hmm.
and my first interaction with him was he looked at me and said, "You do karate?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I'm better than you."
Not some karate
And
kid.
he was right. He still is right.
That
But
is that is. Wait, was he older? Because isn't he older than you?
he's 2 years older than me. Yeah.
Okay,
I think
yeah. So
he's in between us.
he just
So,
bullied you. He's like, yeah, low man, you not him.
yeah, for real. For real. I'm him. No, but yeah, Bailey actually kind of took me under his wing. He started teaching at the Shaolin Kempo Academy for a little bit, and when that stopped going on, he was like, "Yo, I'm training here." That's when I met Angel. We had another training partner, Herbie Bagwell Jr.
Oh, what age is that, by the way?
This is when I'm about 14 to 16. This is all
Okay.
going on. A little older, like 17, 18 too. But so I'm training with them, and these are some killers in this sport, right? Like I'm training with close to the top of the sport now. And so I want to be on top of the sport. I want to be on top of point fighting. And yeah, I'm still training with Ross and Darren, Joe Darren and whatnot, but I'm doing a lot with them too. And so it kind of just like became I was just obsessed with it. I was obsessed with point fighting. And
At the time, were you thinking about any type of other martial arts?
oh yeah,
So okay, when did you start training jiu-jitsu, or what? When did
yeah.
everything else come
So
into play?
so I'd say when I was about like 12 or 13, I was watching Ronda Rousey fight Betch Kohea with one of my training partners in karate. They had invited us all over for like a little watch party, and it was cool, right? And then I saw the preview for McGregor Aldo, and that like fascinated me.
Yeah,
The way McGregor
that build up
acted.
was nuts.
Yeah, the way McGregor acted, I hated it. I was like, this guy's like not a good dude. So I started looking into it. I really started looking into Jose Aldo because I wanted him to win. So I would like look up Jose Aldo fights and I'd watch those fights. And then the fight happens and I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Right?
13 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So then I started watching Conor McGregor. And at that point, I'm like, I'm hooked, you know? So obviously, I've already been doing martial arts my whole life at this point. So I start like expressing that this is what I want to do. I want to be like an MMA fighter. And, you know, you're a 13-year-old kid who gets good grades and is like tiny, which I was. The people around you are kind of like, don't do that, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of stopped expressing it for a while, but it was still in the back of my head. And at the time, I'm still like knee deep in point fighting, right? So I'm just focusing on that for a little bit. Then when COVID happens, my school, Shaolin Kempo Academy, stops their sparring. They do it the right way. They go like virtual. They offer virtual classes.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'm kind of like over it, right? I'm over that aspect of traditional martial arts. So, but I still need to punch and kick things, right? So,
Necessity.
yeah, exactly. So, I wrestled in high school. And while I was wrestling in high school, my coach knew Nick Newell. They had wrestled together before. So, my wrestling coach.
Which high school did you go to?
So, I went to this high school called Easons.
Where's that?
It's in West Haven. It's a magnet school in the New Haven district. It's like a STEM school. So the wrestling team I was on was a co-ed. So it was like all these different schools from the New Haven district. We all met at Wilbur Cross High School, and we all were one team. It was called New Haven Wrestling. So Marcello, my wrestling coach, knew Nick, now my MMA coach, and they were like, yo, wrestle here in the off season. So I showed up to Fighting Arts Academy, the old location, West Haven, once. I was the only kid on the team who showed up, so I stopped. But once...
Wait, why? Because I would think all your wrestling teammates would want to join, no? Or
I'm trying to say this like in a nice way, but like they just weren't as dedicated as they should have been to, you know, like if they were just wrestling to wrestle, they weren't wrestling to like win the tournaments or whatever.
That makes sense. And also in high school, you got a lot of kids who were playing multiple different sports at the same time as well. So
yeah, that was like the higher level kids on the team, right? They were like football players and track athletes, all that stuff. So, but basically once COVID hit, I remembered this place, Fighting Arts Academy, and I had already been training there. I'd been taking the striking classes a little bit. So I was like, all right, I'll just start going here all the time because Nick could basically run the gym the same way. It was invite, right? During COVID, he could run the gym the same way he did before COVID because he had pro fighters and they had to like do their job.
Yeah, essential workers.
Exactly. So those classes were invite only. Those practices were invite only. And that's how I started really training at Fighting Arts Academy. I used to do point fighting 5-6 times a week. Now I started doing MMA 5-6 times a week, grappling and kickboxing, wrestling. I would always say if they had wrestling my senior year, because my senior year was COVID, I would have been all-state wrestler because I started training at FAA. But, you know.
You felt like, although you were practicing solely wrestling for high school, what did you feel that you were learning at FA that would have given you the edge?
Everything, man. Like, the learning curve was just so crazy there because on my wrestling team, I felt like I was the only one. I was bringing a certain intensity, especially my junior year, my last year. I was bringing a certain intensity that my teammates just weren't. And, like, I remember we were doing laps around the gym, and these dudes weren't running, bro. They were, like, jogging and walking, and I'm, like, yelling at them while I'm running to, like, pick it up. And they did, like, I almost, like, me and this other kid, like, got into it while we were running. We were fine by the end of practice, but it's just, like, I brought a certain intensity to my wrestling practice, right? That intensity was matched at FAA. So my growth just like, instead of being like this, it was like this, you know?
Exponential.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, having pro fighters around you must.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm like 18 years old and they're like dog walking me.
Dude, how insane is that? I've always wondered what it would have been like if I got into the sport a lot younger. But I mean, the best time to start is now. To anybody watching, it's never too late to start training. But like, again, like certain kids I'm seeing that are starting training at like 13, 15, and they're getting it and they're understanding it. So trying to put myself in their shoes, like, must have been, I don't know, man. I would have felt like a kid just in a candy shop every day.
Yeah, it's awesome if you're young and you have the desire to do stuff like that. It's awesome.
Yeah,
finding a place like FAA is awesome because you're a culmination of the people around you, right? So if you're at this gym 6 days a week, you're surrounded by pro fighters, you know, it's going to affect who you are as a young kid, right? But I heard Phil Rowe talk about this. He was like, kids that start training young, they're like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, there are no 22-year-old phenoms that start training when they're 10. You know what I'm saying? Because by the time, if they start training when they're 10,
by the time they get there, they're worn out.
Yeah, they're like jacked up. You know
what? That is something I've seen in multiple different sports, especially a lot of times where you have parents who want their kids to succeed in some sort of sport and starts them at a very strict regimen at a very young age. More likely than not, by the time they get to their teenage years, they hate it. You know, but then again, I have the opposite thought, because how many high-level athletes have you heard that I would have never been like this if it wasn't for my dad? Floyd Mayweather, you know, like someone that was pushed to the edge at a very young age that does become great. So I don't know. What do you feel about that?
So I think guys like Floyd Mayweather, guys like, these are all going to be boxers for whatever reason, because they're just off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, because they start really, really, really young.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, but guys like Floyd Mayweather, Naoya Inoue, right? His father's his trainer. Tyson Fury, same sort of thing. I feel like those dudes wanted to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like they were born with it.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of these kids who are put in these sports when they're young, they may have natural ability, and because they started when they were young, of course they're going to be nasty, right? But they don't actually want to do it. You know, they want to go out and be like a scientist, or they want to like, something.
That's true.
Or they want to like start a podcast. It's not, you got to actually want it. And especially with something like as demanding as sports, this one in particular is like especially demanding, but like high level soccer, right? Anything like that. It takes too much out of you. And by the time you're 16 years old and you can start thinking as an adult, and you're like, what do I want with my life?
There's more than life than
than what my dad said, right? You know? So, but I think it's definitely an advantage if you're like, if your dad wakes up with you and you're like, yo, time to hit the track, right? Like, it's definitely an advantage.
Okay, if you do have kids, will you be that type of father?
So my parents had this rule when I was a kid. They were like, if you want to do karate, you have to have at least a B in every class, and you have to do something extracurricular that's academic. So my sister was on like the debate team. I was like on science Olympiad or something in 7th grade. I did like extra work in the summer. So me and my sister were always doing something extra for school if we wanted to do our sport, because my sister danced. She loves dancing. I did karate. I loved karate. If we want to do those things, we have to keep up with our schoolwork.
Earn it.
My rule is going to be, you want to do that, you got to come train, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I'm thinking. Just because I think martial arts is too beneficial not to do, right? The practical use of it is like being able to defend yourself, and then just like what it does for your character, you know? So yeah, that would be my rule.
Coming back to your journey, transitioning from karate to MMA full on, what is the main differences do you feel that kind of helped you and kind of made you struggle transitioning to karate
That's a good question.
to MMA?
You
Because
said
the
what made me-
distance game, right? Because
Okay.
right, we're thinking of you're used to point fighting, so closing the distance is something that you've pretty much mastered at that point. Well, you know, because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But now you're having to work clinch game,
Yeah.
which is something that you're not used to in karate. So how was the learning curve for you when you got to that point?
So, in terms of the striking from distance, I was honestly like, when I started sparring with MMA guys, I was surprised at how slow they were, right? Like, I was serious.
No,
seriously.
I'm-
Everything was like just a lot slower. I could make reads better. I could see things, and you train with guys like Bailey and Angel who are like, you blink and they're in your face, literally.
It's insane.
Literally,
it's insane how fast they
like
are.
it's like yeah, go ahead, throw your Muay Thai back leg kick. It's fine. I'll move out of the way. So that was the biggest, like, on one end of the spectrum,
Advantage that you had coming in, yeah.
And then learning the grappling and whatnot was, grappling is still like the weakest part of my game. I can obviously grapple now better, but it's still like it's still where I can learn the most, as opposed to striking from distance. And same thing with the clinch and like pocket boxing and stuff like that. Like, I can still learn more there than from distance, but it's fun, right? I like really enjoy all of it. So it's not like, I never thought of it as a disadvantage. It's kind of just like
The journey.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the great thing about grappling specifically is that it's something you can do your entire life, right? So I can spend my whole life getting better at jiu-jitsu, and I want to do that, right? So I don't think of it as
What belt are you right now?
I'm a blue belt.
Okay.
Blue belt, yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
When did you get your blue belt?
2023, 2022, I think. Yeah.
I got mine last year, and I guess it's true what they said, bro. Once you get your blue belt, it's kind of like training. Life works everywhere around you to not make you train.
I mean,
No, at least I was to say in my experience, but it's just because of the way that I approach things.
Yeah.
I got my blue belt, and then I just wanted to focus on striking purely. So I was just like, just on that. And then I had a couple knee injuries, which you know how terrible it is when you're grappling with like knee and hip problems. So I took a kind of like a year break from jiu-jitsu to just solely focus on the striking. But to come back to your point where you were saying how you feel like there's a lot to learn in the grappling part instead of striking. And that's because like grappling, or from my experience, is like grappling is a library, bro, where striking is a manual. Does that make sense?
that does make sense. That's a good way of thinking.
Yeah, where like striking, it's like you have the same kind of weapons and you could throw them different ways and you could throw them with different tempos. But jiu-jitsu is like you have so many different sequences that could bring you to different places and to chain different things. And oh my gosh, it's so awesome. The day I look forward to getting my black belt. Let me not say that. I was gonna say more than I look forward to like having a kid, because like making a kid is so easy, but it's true, bro. Making a kid is so easy. Getting your black belt, it's like, do you know how many hours of training you had to put in just to get that? So
I definitely think about getting my black belt more than about having a kid.
yeah, and I think the same thing for me too. It's like striking, I can see myself doing it for only a certain amount of time, but like grappling, I could see myself pursuing that for life, and I want to be a mixed martial artist for life, not just a fighter.
Exactly.
And even now at the amateur scene, I could see how some people, you could tell who's a fighter and you could tell who's a martial artist. And you could see the way that they approach their fights based on their styles, like what type of, fighter they want to be.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's like I can only speak up for myself, right? But there are so many different reasons people get into fighting, right? I knew a guy, he was on our team for a little bit. He was nasty. And he was just like, I started training when I was like 20 or however old he was. And I started fighting because I was good at it, right? Whereas me, it's like ingrained in like my DNA and like my personality and all that stuff. And it's like, so I feel the same way. I don't ever want to stop doing martial arts, right? I'll never stop. Nothing could ever make me stop, right? Like, nothing could ever make me stop. It's who I am, right? And in terms of like striking versus grappling and what you were talking about, the library versus the manual, I feel like I shouldn't say mastery because I'm not a master, so I can't speak on what makes someone a master. You know what I mean? But I feel like to get really good at striking, you really need to focus on those nuances, right? Like distance control, timing, those slight little angles you take with your feet, reading the person's body language, all these little nuances that only experience can teach you. And I feel like you need that for grappling too. You need to understand those nuances. But like you said earlier, the amount of moves you got to learn is like, it's like 100 times more than striking, right? Yeah. It's insane. So that's why I say you can dedicate your whole life to mastering jiu-jitsu, because you can. And, you hear stories about those like red belts who like sit on their butt and like tap out the whole seminar when it's done, and you're just like,
that's insane.
That'd be so cool.
And like right where in striking it's very blitzy. I think striking like a ping pong game, right? It's like bang 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 bang. Whereas like jiu-jitsu, how would I explain it? It's kind of like you're being swallowed by a snake, and it doesn't have to be very fast, but it's just so methodical, and you feel like you're drowning.
Yeah.
Where like, I feel like striking, I just got in a really bad car accident. Where like in jiu-jitsu, someone is smothering me and holding me underwater, and I'm trying to pull myself up, and I can't. That's how I felt when I first started. And yeah, man, I love jiu-jitsu. I can't wait to go back and actually like give and dedicate time to it, because I miss it. I miss choking people. Like, I don't know.
When was the last time you trained?
No, I trained one time last week jiu-jitsu, and I trained one time the week before. I'm talking about being consistent. I don't consider if I train twice a week like me actually training.
Yeah.
Like, that is just stopping by. Like, like being able to stick with the regimen that's being taught that week, or the focus of that month.
Yeah.
That's when I see improvement in my skill, or sharpening in my tools.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
I definitely lose it.
But that's cool, yeah, man.
Being a teacher of jiu-jitsu, what are some things that what are some things that you've seen with newer people that are starting from fresh versus like athletes who are somewhat experienced in movement?
So I will say I'm not a jiu-jitsu coach, right? I coach the kids class at FAA.
Which is perfect.
And I coached some striking classes for adults at FAA. But I do help the kids with jiu-jitsu, and obviously if a new guy needs help, I love coaching. So I'll help whoever needs help with whatever. But what I notice with athletes versus non-athletes is, obviously they move better, right? Athletes, they know how to transfer their weight and use their hips and all these different things. But a lot of times I just notice the nerve of people is a little, like, a lot of jiu-jitsu is, like, very intimidating for someone who's never done it, right? It's like why am I giving this guy a hug? I just met him, right? So, like, they're like anxious to, like, even drilling, and it, like, obviously affects how well they can replicate the move or whatever. But that I noticed that sometimes with athletes too. It's like they're still hesitant unless they did, like, another combat sport, right? But even some athletes, they're, like, hesitant to really drive on a double leg, or really throw their hips into a kick on the bag or something like that, just because it's intimidating, right? This sport is, if you spend your whole life thinking it's bad to fight people, when you want to start trying, you're like,
There's a
your
mental
body
barrier.
your body holds back. But
How many amateur fights have you had now, Stan?
I'm doing math, sorry.
Are you good?
12.
12. Throughout your amateur career so far, how can you advise new fighters about weight cuts? Because that's one thing I've been noticing, man, especially in our amateur scenes, that, like, a lot of people are doing this wrong, and a lot of people are actually suffering from it. And I think in our sport we have this stigma of being, running through a wall like you're unstoppable. But I fear a lot of amateur fighters neglect science, and their performances take a toll because of that.
Yeah, so I got a decent amount to say about that. So the first thing I would say is, bro, if you're an amateur, don't cut that much weight. Don't cut that much weight. It's not worth it, right? You're literally killing yourself when you cut weight. It doesn't matter how much. You're starving yourself of water. You're overworking your liver. You're messing with your hormones. You're doing one of the most explosive, intense sports with very little fuel, right?
And dire consequences.
Exactly. It's like, don't cut that much weight. Don't cut that much weight. That's for amateur fighters. Even for pro fighters, just don't cut that much weight. The other thing I would say is, if you really want to do this, right, you have to, like, take action to prove that, right? Before I had my nutritionist, shout out to James Quinn, sports nutrition. Before I had my nutritionist, I was tracking my calories, right? I was looking up things on Instagram or things online on how to weight cut correctly, right? The information is out there.
For free.
Literally.
For free.
For free. For free. And it's like, if you truly want to do this, take the actions to do it without killing yourself, right? Because it's, as much as I love this sport, nothing's worth dying, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's worth dying in a sauna or passing out in a sauna. I know that's, like, terrible to say, but, like, it happens sometimes.
It happens more than not.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. And it's already the hardest part of the sport is cutting weight, right? Any fighter will say that, right? It's the hardest part. The fight's easy. Cutting weight is
the hard part. Making it.
Right? So it's like, make it as easy as possible, right? Find the information you need. And then, like, if you have the resources, like, get some help. All right? Like, I started working with a nutritionist because I wanted to cut back down to 125 pounds. And I knew I could do it by myself if I needed to, but I also knew I wouldn't be doing it the most effective way.
Efficient way.
Yeah. So I linked up with my nutritionist, and I'm lucky enough to have the resources for him to help me, right? And now my weight cut process is so much easier. One, because I don't cut that much weight anymore. I don't cut to 125, right? My first point, don't cut that much weight. Don't cut that. Don't cut
I
that.
can't imagine you're at 125, bro.
Don't get me started.
How many different weight classes have you fought at?
Three. So I fought at 125 twice. I fought at 130 a decent amount of times, but that's not a weight class. I've fought mostly at 135, and I had one fight at 145.
You never fought 150 or anything? Well, like
No.
smoker wise, like before.
No.
Did you do any smokers? How did your
So like my last year of high school, I had been training with Nick and all that, and I signed up for a smoker, and it was like a tournament shoot boxing style. So it was a tournament. It was from, I think it was like 160 or 150 and under to 150 and up, and those were the two like classes for the tournament. And yeah, I think I had 3 fights that day, and it was best out of 3. So if you won the first 2 rounds, there wasn't a third round. And
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot
I would
of
like
fun.
to do that.
It was like 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I love smokers. I think smokers are more fun than like going
Amateur
to a
fights.
venue. Yeah. Or even pro fights.
Dude, I only had one. I was like,
Yeah, that was my only one too.
but luckily, I guess I competed twice that day, so I got my fill a little
Yeah.
bit. But yeah,
No, they're fun. They're good. It's just a great vibe, like Fight Club vibes.
with your teammates.
I love it. Yeah.
Stan, it was an honor to have you on today. Before we go, is there anything else you'd like to touch upon? Anything like to say about the community? What have you learned? Any advice?
Man, everyone, I don't know how big this podcast is, but anyone who's watching this,
The biggest podcast in the world.
yeah, exactly. Everyone who's watching this who doesn't do martial arts, go start. It's the best thing ever, right? Literally, it's the best thing ever. It's good for your body. It's good for your mind. And it makes you more peaceful. It's not like you're going to get more aggressive because you do martial arts. You're going to, all your little moments of aggression and anger and anxiety are going to get sweated out on the mat. And that's just like kind of what I want to say and kind of the message I want to put out to the world. So.
And I, as someone who is going through this journey, I can honestly say everything he said is totally true. The type of, there's no peace like after training, especially after like a good hard sparring, dude. And like all the cells in your body, you're just vibrant, and your energy's aligned, and your mind is calm. And you just feel so good, man. I'm addicted to that feeling after. Like, after training, I'm just like, I want to feel that. And I think I struggle when I don't train because I don't have that peace at the end of the day where I'm constantly chasing it through something else. And a lot of times when I don't train, I'm up to like 2 or 3 in the morning, bro.
Same.
Absolutely nothing.
Same.
I'm just like, I'm not tired.
Same, bro. I get depressed. Start doing things I shouldn't be doing. Like it's like seriously, and I think it like fulfills something in you, right? There's this great, it's up on my Instagram, but there's this great video of a snake wrapping itself around a hawk that's trying to prey on it, that's trying to eat it, and the snake ends up choking the hawk, and the hawk is like, so the snake defended himself. And then the video below it is someone throwing up a reverse triangle. And it's cool to see the similarities. And it's, as an animal, the human animal, you have the desire to defend yourself. And you have the desire to defend what you have. And in the modern world, you don't really get a lot of opportunities to truly do that, right? You don't ever truly have to defend your life or truly have to defend your family. And obviously you do.
There's a real world situation. Yeah. I'm not neglecting that.
Yeah. Like modern situations are modern situations, and they deserve as much energy as you put into them. But it's not like a lion is trying to eat you, right? Like,
unless you're in Africa. And
yeah. But those guys don't need martial arts.
Yeah.
Those guys don't need martial arts, right?
They need a gun.
They need a spear. But you need to get that out of you somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think martial arts, especially if you live in this country, is the safest, most healthy way to offset, to like get rid of their natural instinct in you. And I think everyone has that natural instinct. So,
Are you sparring tonight?
of course.
All right, so I will see you tonight, sir.
Yes, sir.
And also, I will see you this weekend for UFC what is it, Freedom 250?
I don't know, something like that.
UFC Freedom something.
Yeah.
But Ilya Taporia versus Justin Gaethje. Who you got?
Ilya, bro.
Ilya?
Ilya.
What about all the
Stop.
other Poatan versus Sirigan?
I don't know about
Pretty
that
close
one.
matchup,
I don't know
don't you
about
think?
that one, bro. That one,
It's a toss-up, you think?
I'm really excited for that one. Man, I'm like my first instinct is Alex, so I'm gonna go with Alex.
Yeah, just Connecticut native. Gotta
Yeah,
go with
that
the
too,
homeboy.
that
Yeah.
too.
And then one more, Sean O'Malley is on that card as well.
He's fighting Song.
No, he's
No, they
fighting
already
this. I think. Hold, we could look it up.
Oh.
I'm
Brother of the coach, right? Faraz Sahabi. Faraz Sahabi's brother.
I think that's his name. Yes, Amen Zahabi.
Yeah.
What about Josh Hoke? Oh man, I think it would be beautiful if Derek Lewis knocks him out.
I've never seen Josh Hoke fight. I know he's like kind of like a jerk and like acts crazy.
What he acts crazy, but he has skills.
Yeah, of course.
But besides skills, he's just a madman.
Yeah.
Like nonstop. Yeah,
Crash out. Nice.
He's a technical crash out, bro. The worst. Oh, Mauricio Rufy versus Marco Chandler. Terrible matchup for Chandler, I feel.
Yeah, that's a good fight, but he's getting
picked apart.
Yeah.
But if he does do it, damn.
I don't know. I feel like Michael Chandler should grapple in this matchup. I think that would help him.
Yes, he should. Michael Chandler has every tools in his box to win that fight, but I fear his IQ might not let him.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? You want that guy wants blood, you know. So
Yes, he does.
We'll see how it plays out, but
Bo Nickel is fighting Kyle Dawkins. I think that's a.
I haven't seen Kyle Dawkins fight.
Me neither, but I think that's a Bo Nickel toss up, in my opinion.
Bo Nickel's getting good, man. Everywhere.
Yeah, his last fight was the head kick knockout, right?
Crazy.
That was surprising. Well, it surprised a lot of other people. Yeah. But yeah, so we have a group hike if you could make it, and then UFC on Sunday, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everyone. If they like to get in contact with you through your Instagram, your socials.
So my Instagram is Stanislav. So Stan ISLAV RAKO.V. So my name, just with some dots in there. Just search up Stan Rakov. You'll find me.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Peace.
Adios.
Yes.
That was fun. It's on Sunday?
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Dude, it's like